We were at 9 o'clock here in this program suddenly, and they're in Roman Reigns' locker room. Jay and Jimmy and Sammy, and Roman walks in. And Sammy, he's the one to, hey, we got nothing. We got no fifth guy. There's nobody. Nobody will do this. And Jay says, make the call. And then suddenly, the new Bloodline's music is playing, and they're seeing on the monitor that the new Bloodline are walking to the ring. So there's a lot of interaction here now with this.
Well, that reaction, the reaction when the Bloodline music hit and Roman's just like, what? Like, he looks a little worried. There's a monitor right next to him. So eventually he realizes it's there, and he turns and he looks, and then they go to that. It was, again, give Paul Heyman his Emmy. And the whole tease of, did you make that call? Have you had that call? You don't know exactly who it's with yet, but there's something going on and it'll pay off. But they're starting to put that in everyone's mind right now.
But they didn't have time to make the call because the music played.
That's right.
Let the music play. So then Solo and his group are in the ring, and he tells Milwaukee to acknowledge him. Boo. And then suddenly Roman's music plays. They don't even need to fucking go out and say anything now. And the original tribal chief, the OTC, and his guys go to the ring, and they have the brief face-off, and they just break into an 8-way. And it's back and forth. Jacob lays the Usos out. And Solo goes to spike Sammy, but Roman spears Solo and gets a big pop, and Sammy dives on the heels. And then Roman and Fatu are in the ring. And they're circling each other. And we've got the OTC chants. And then suddenly, Bronson Reed levels Roman from behind and squishes him. And then Fatu gives him.
You're really reducing it. You're really they built it up so well, so they had that moment where Roman and Jacob Fatu were squaring off, and the fans were ready for it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And then Bronson Reed levels him and squishes him. And I told you, what did we do on the show we did last week, or whatever, or whenever we did one of the shows that we do every 2 days? I said I think they should have just gone 4-on-4. Because they've inserted Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins in where they're mad at each other, but they didn't really fit either group. And that's why when Bronson Reed comes in, they're like, fuck. Because now, but then Fatu gets back and gives him the ass in the face. And everybody else comes back in and gets in a big fight. And the heels kick the shit out of the baby faces because they're outnumbered. And Fatu gets his moonsault, and Bronson Reed gets his splash. But then Roman fights back against everybody, but Solo spikes him. And Fatu moonsaults him again. Reed splashes him. And security runs in, and the heels celebrate. But I don't know. What do you think? They've diluted the blood. The blood is no longer pure.
Well, I don't know if I would put it that way. But
many people are these days.
Are they putting Bronson Reed in the Bloodline, or is it just for the Survivor Series match?
Well, I'm sure it's just for the War Games, but
I'm okay with it because you know what? There's a bigger story too that eventually has to play out with Rollins and Roman. Rollins still doesn't like Roman from the Shield and everything. So there's still something there that's the best stuff with Rollins. It isn't his goofy promos. It's teasing the fucking issues he has with everyone else. So I'm okay with it. I'd like to see where that goes.
So you're saying it's him. He's got issues with everybody.
I'm not saying it's him. I'm saying that's the most interesting thing about him.
Well, you don't know him personally. He's an expert in butterflies.
I don't know. I guess I just don't know. But
very interesting. But anyway, so yes, but here goes what's going on. The Bloodline is, now they got to have the fifth guy. And so anyway,
the only way it's not Rollins is if it won't happen. But if it was Brock Lesnar,
but now that Because there's a connection through Heyman. So that would not technically, to me, be diluting the purity of the blood.
Because what's make the call? You know, what's make the call to Heyman? Is it just, hey, we need you here in
Well,
our
he didn't
corner?
say Heyman earlier. He said make the call and the music cut it off.
Based on
come back later on.
Based on the end of the show.
Well, should we go ahead and reveal the end of the show, because it was a very short shot anyway, is that at the very end of the show, there's Roman sitting in his room again, and he's sore and he's all beat up, and he realizes he's got to do what he's got to do. And he gets out his fancy Dan phone and he speaks into it. He says, "Call the wise man." And the place blows because they're watching it on the screen, right? And it's a big pop. And then he gets the number you have reached is not in service.
Which is better than when Paul used to pretend to be his own roommate.
Well, yeah. He's not here. I'll tell him when he gets back in. But so, and then everybody's, oh. So now, sorry, wrong number.
So why is he trying to call the wise man? Is it just to be there in their corner? Is it because they need help getting a fifth partner?
They need advice. They need wiseness. They need wiseosity. And where do you get wiseosity from but the wise man?
Should Heyman return looking exactly the same, or would it be a disappointment if he didn't grow out his beard and let his hair turn white, and he comes back looking more wizardly?
He comes back looking like fucking Sika, is what you're saying?
I guess not. I guess not.
What about if he came back weighing 178 pounds?
I don't think that will be happening. I don't think that's ever happened maybe in his career. But
hey, when I weighed 220, I had about 25 pounds on him.
The pop he got when they mentioned him, and when we talked about the top of the review, the things you remember from this show, that's really the thing you remember.
Yeah.
Is him trying to get the wise man on the phone, and he wasn't there. I'm lucky I saw it live because I went back to watch it a second time on the DVR, that one part, because I took it off mute because I was watching the Jake Paul Tyson thing. It cut off on my DVR. All we get is Roman coming into the dressing room, holding his ribs, and then it cuts off. Thank God I didn't have to rely on that. And it's a WWE thing. It's everywhere as soon as it happens, but...
Well, but you know what? That they milked it all the way till the end of the show. And it was just, a 30-second thing, so mine caught it, and boom, right at the end of it, froze up also. But it was very important. That's what it was.
So who do you think the fifth member will be of their team? Without knowing anything, because we're, a couple of weeks away, we'll do the preview next week.
If it wasn't going to be Seth, they wouldn't have done this business, I don't think. And I think it'll be Seth because of the necessity of him wanting to get his hands on Bronson Reed, but Brock would be fucking fabulous. Holy shit.
How about if they go to the ring with Seth and then Heyman shows up with Brock expecting to be the partner, and then he have problems. See, that's the best thing about the Bloodline stuff. You never really know where it's going exactly. You think you do, and they kind of go in a certain way, and then because it's classic Heyman. Heyman can't do endings. This doesn't need an ending.
Yeah.
Just keep it going, like the days of our lives.
He can never wrap anything up, but he can keep it going for fucking ever.
That's right.
And does Heyman need to show up in person if it was Brock?
Yes.
We were thinking that Heyman would preface Brock returning, but maybe would Brock show up, in the clinch, having been sent by Heyman?
Heyman has to show up with Brock if it's a part of this. Or Heyman has to walk out and wave Brock out, because everyone knows, even when Roman was feuding with Brock, remember? Brock was like, "You didn't know I was here. I told him." They still had the relationship in the middle of that feud, Heyman and Lesnar on camera.
Well, and remember also, and by the way, we've still got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre that's floating around out there taking time off selling the last match.
Logan Paul, not around in a long time either.
Well, yeah, the way he fucking sucked up to Agent Orange, he could stay gone. But no, the point is, what they mentioned that Punk was off limits because of respect to Heyman, right? Remember? They mentioned
Yeah.
that when Punk first came back. So there's ways and things and ways and means.